In this Baldur's Gate 3 build guide, I'm going to be covering my Hunter build for early access and showing you what I found to work best. I'll be doing more build guides at launch of Baldur's Gate 3, but for now, let's take a look at how you can use a Hunter effectively in the first act of the game. Rangers can become Hunters at level 3 in Baldur's Gate 3, and when they do, they gain the choice of a powerful passive. Colossus Slayer will provide an extra 1-8 damage to any target they hit with a weapon attack. Since the damage from the attack is calculated before Colossal Slayer is determined, this works with full health targets, even though the description makes it seem as though it does not. This allows Hunters to deal incredible damage every round without expending any resources. Hunter's Mark is a spell that does nearly the same thing as Colossus Slayer but rolls slightly less damage, 1-6, and the target must die somewhat quickly, or you will not be able to reapply it for free. While this isn't particularly hard to do, sometimes you need to jump to get to places where you can get advantage using your bonus action. You cannot then cast Hunter's Mark and miss out on the damage. Using Colossus Slayer, you solve this problem as well as free up an additional spell slot for something else. If these two things stack together, it would be an amazing combo, but sadly, they do not. Additionally, you cannot use Ensnaring Shot on a target that is marked, or you will remove the mark because both spells require concentration. This means if you're using Hunter's Mark and Speak with Animals, you almost have no need for Wisdom, and you'll only have one spell left you can choose from that might use it. In this section, we'll take a look at how to set up your Hunter during character creation for best results. You don't have to follow this to the letter, and it's likely this will change at full launch of the game. However, this will hold you in good stead during early access. Which background you choose is not particularly important, but you'll have a lot of wisdom, so selecting a background that affects wisdom skills is a good choice. Wisdom skills are animal handling, insight, medicine, perception, and survival. The races I like for this build are Wood Elf, Strongheart, Halfling, and Human. Wood Elves can reach 17 dexterity, they gain proficiency with perception, they have dark vision, they gain proficiency with stealth, and they also gain +1 wisdom. This makes them the clear favorite for a ranger. Strongheart Halflings can reach 17 dexterity as well, but also gain lucky, allowing them to reroll attack rolls when they roll a 1. They also resist poison and gain 1 constitution. Humans have an all-around good stat spread, and while not as good as the previous two races, I think a lot of people like to roleplay as a human ranger. Additionally, they can still reach 16 in dexterity and wisdom during character creation, which is good if you plan to use spells that they benefit from, like Cure Wounds or Hail of Thorns. For skills, again, it's not super important, but you'll have high dexterity and wisdom, so selecting skills that fall under these abilities is ideal. Dexterity has acrobatics, sleight of hand, and stealth, and I've already listed what wisdom skills there are. Abilities needed for this build are dexterity, since we're going to focus on bow combat, and constitution for HP to help with concentration. Wisdom is also needed to make good use of some offensive spells, so you want to invest here. Your abilities should look something like this: Strength 10, Dexterity 16, Constitution 14, Intelligence 8, Wisdom 16, Charisma 10. Which favorite enemy you take is not particularly important for this build, but I give you some suggestions here. If you plan to use Ensnaring Strike, then you'll want to take Bounty Hunter to make it harder to escape. If not, take Sanctified Stalker. True Strike just isn't as good as it sounds, and you don't need heavy armor with such a large investment in dexterity. When it comes to the passives here, I suggest either Beast Tamer if you plan to use Astarion in your party, or a Urban Tracker if you don't wish to use him. Beast Tamer will let you summon a familiar that can assist you in combat, and Urban Tracker will give you proficiency with Thieves' Tools, which helps to lockpick more efficiently. At level 2, you're going to gain 2 spells and 2 spell slots. Here you should take Speak with Animals and either Ensnaring Strike or Hail of Thorns. Ensnaring Strike allows you to restrain a target, dealing damage each turn if they can't make a saving throw, and Hail of Thorns allows you a high damage shot that also AoEs a small amount. Speak with Animals is self-explanatory. You will also gain a powerful passive here, and for this build I suggest Archery for +2 to your attack rolls with ranged weapons. This will add a total of +7 to your attack rolls and +8 at level 4, which I believe is the highest you can achieve for any class in early access without using Bless. At level 3, your ranger can take the Hunter subclass, and you'll get to choose one of 3 passive abilities. They're all pretty good, but for this build we're going to take Colossus Slayer to get that increased damage with every weapon attack you do. Horde Breaker has such a small range that you almost never get to use it, and it's just easier not to worry about managing Hunter's Mark, especially if you're a new player. At this level you'll get to choose a 3rd ranger spell, and you should decide if you want Ensnaring Strike, Hail of Thorns, or Cure Wounds. If you're not running with a cleric in your party, you may want to take Cure Wounds, but you can choose whichever you like. At Hunter level 4, you'll gain 2 ability points to place into Dexterity, bringing it to 18 and your modifier to +4. This will not only increase the likelihood of your connecting with your attacks, but also will increase the damage by 1. Nothing else here is needed. For weapons, you want to use a longbow, and you can find a longbow +1 a bit later in the game, which is even better. For melee weapons, you can dual wield any finesse weapons that you want, but short swords are not a bad option. You're not going to use these often, but sometimes you'll need to melee or face disadvantage on your bow attacks. For armor, you can use studded leather armor, as this will accommodate your entire dexterity modifier and will give you a total armor class of 16. You could also use the Githyanki half-plank that Lysel comes with if you're not using her, and don't mind disadvantage on stealth rolls, and this will give you 17 armor. For accessories, you can use the Amulet of Misty Step, which will allow you to teleport to any location that you can see. This is great for getting up high where you gain advantage on your attacks, allowing you to roll your d20 twice using the best of 2 rolls. Or you can use Broodmother's Revenge for even further poison damage when you're healed. Beastmaster's Chain is also not a bad choice if you didn't take the Animal Friendship spell. Final tips. Use Ensnaring Strike on enemies that you need to keep in place and ones that are particularly dangerous. Remember that you need to maintain concentration to keep up the effect, so try to avoid taking damage and try to remain far from melee enemies. If you get hit, this effect will end if you cannot make a Constitution saving throw. You can use Hail of Thorns on a single target to get an additional 1 to 10 damage, and you don't have to use it as an AoE. Just make sure not to hit your companions with it, because even saves still take damage. Lastly, remember that even though you're using a bow to attack, if you're dual wielding in your melee slot, you will gain the offhand attack melee bonus action. This can allow you to move in and finish off a target if you didn't deal enough damage with your bow. Just be careful not to stay in melee range if possible, because you have disadvantage with ranged weapon attacks while threatened in melee combat. Stay tuned for more Baldur's Gate 3 content as we take a look at classes and builds, and be sure to drop by our Twitch channel if you have questions about the game. If you need something specific, check out our Baldur's Gate 3 wiki, which is being worked on night and day.